I don't want to take your time either, but I want to understand that the final product, because what's different from what Eric just talked about, and God has been involved with this stuff for decades, is these are just things. These are projects, and they're important, and
Right.
sweat and tears have gone into them.
Right.
But it seems as though we don't really know who we are or what we want to do. We don't have any consensus. Will this final product bring some of that identification so that we understand why we want to have this district or that district?
Yeah.
I mean, is there some of the emotional, psychological, sociological reasons that we've not gotten these things done? It's not always just financial, and it's not always just political.
No, you're absolutely right.
So,
yeah. One of the things that I think we've learned over the years is that when it comes down to whether or not something happens, in a community, you can run, a really great process and not be successful. You can run a mediocre process and you can have great success. And the difference a lot of times is leadership that comes around something like this. And so I would say that a large part of whether or not this is going to be successful has to do with the leadership that gets brought around this process, and how much work we can do together to understand each other, make some priorities, understand what's at stake here, and move forward. Even though we may not individually be 100% happy, we know and we agree to some essential direction that has to happen. I've not, diagnosed these other efforts, but one of the things that I do want to do with the management group, where I told them we had a bibliography together, is that we have an exercise where we try to run a matrix on a lot of these things. And it looks like Eric has done some good work about what happened to them. Is there anything useful in there from a data standpoint? Is there anything useful in there from a policy standpoint? And what caused their snag? Because we don't want to repeat any of those things. But my sense is that we have a large group of people here with different interests, different issues, right? We need to get to what the values are of this group. We need to understand what the larger values are. And we need to put our best foot forward together for this community. And, that has a resource implication, right? There are things that we're going to do in this plan, but there are going to be things that come out of it that are going to require the community to make other investments. Those investments should be made informed by this work, and they should be made seriously about moving forward. I mean, there is some terrific investment that's going on in downtown. We saw the Patterson building today, and those are all great signs that people are willing to put money into this community. Hopefully this will allow us to be more focused on how it actually happens. It'll be really easy, I think, as Eric's comments indicated, it'll be really easy for us to go through this process and come up with a plan with about 300 action items, right? And they'd all be good, important stuff. But somehow we have to do this, very strategic, and then get to the tactics of how it works. Those are all very good cautions for anybody who's been involved in finance. Our profession has a well-deserved reputation of creating plans. You've heard this, and then one shell. Have you ever heard that before? Well, it's not in my selfish interest for that to happen, and that's not what we're about. So we're going to do our best. But it is very much a cooperative, collaborative effort that we're all in here together to do this. So we're about 10 minutes away.
I'm going to put George and my email up here, so if you want to get in touch with either one of us, feel free to do that.
Okay. So I think at this point in the agenda, Sherry is going to make some logistical announcements about where we're going to go about the next meeting. But I really look forward to working with all of you, and it is a lot of you. So we're going to try to get ourselves physically in a place we're more comfortable this time, and really begin to work on this. So thank you very much. And Sherry?
I need you all to leave 3 things here when you leave. Your name tags, first of all, and on the table right outside the door. Your 3x5 cards, and this is really important, your contact information, because I will be emailing you this time minutes from tonight's meeting, and then also where the next meeting will be. October 12th is a Monday,
Right.
4 to 6 p.m. Did we want to ask them about times, or we just assuming?
does everyone still have their sheet on the back? If you could write down like the day of the weeks that are really difficult for you. What we're trying to do is to eliminate as many days as possible. If you could say, one is not good, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're not meeting on Friday, you can do that on your own, but I don't do that on Friday.
Bad days not to do.
A bad day, what doesn't work for you, what doesn't work for you.
And email me if you have any questions, concerns, any planning documents like we've been talking about, and we will compile that bibliography in that.
I think Georgia's going to make some closing comments and answer any questions you might have in the remaining 10 minutes.
Jay's going to make a final announcement, but I wanted to thank all of you for being here and sharing your feelings and the ideas you had. As I look at this list of things that Eric has presented, I think without a doubt it raises some concern. But in my mind, nothing gets done unless two things happen. One is a zealot who wants this done and has the political clout or the economic clout to get it done. I'm hopeful that, and this to me says there's some zealots who ran out of gas, or the political clout to get it done just wasn't there. I'm hopeful that this group will represent a way of communicating better and focusing on issues so we can get things done. So I appreciate what you've done, and I do feel like we can benefit from things that haven't worked in the past, because there are specific reasons, and we want to overcome everything we can to make this thing come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and George and I are heavily invested in this process, and we want to make it work, and we also believe in a better month, as all of you do. So thank you, and we'll see you on the 12th, we hope.